allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to call on a motion to approve the minutes from last month. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. I'd like to call for a motion to adopt the agenda for this evening.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. We do have a special recognition this evening. I'm going to let Dr. Melissa McInerney do this presentation. Thank you.
Good evening. I am very excited tonight to recognize one of our amazing teachers. She's been with us for just over 5.5 years, and I can still remember her interview and her first demonstration lesson. I am grateful for her dedication and very proud to be one of her administrators. She has an amazing gift and will no doubt be a contender for National Teacher of the Year. It is my privilege and honor to introduce the 2016 PA Teacher of the Year, a Northern Lebanon first, Rebecca Foxwell.
First of all, it's so good to be home. We've been in Hershey, which is not far away, but Northern Lebanon is home, so it feels so good to be back after 2.5 very full and whirlwind days of PA Teacher of the Year events. So, first of all, what an honor to be a part of the Northern Lebanon family and to be able to represent all of the amazing, dedicated teachers that I get to work with every day. I am so thankful for that privilege that I have, and for the community. In this speech, I said, students are why we are here. The students that we have here in Northern Lebanon and the families we have here are the absolute best. And I feel so honored and privileged to have had many of your students in my classroom in the 5.5 years that I have been here. So I'm excited for the days ahead and representing Northern Lebanon well, and thank you so much for all your support. I can't even tell you, I haven't gotten back to any of them, and I hope you'll give a little grace, but all of your texts and emails have really meant the world to me from my Northern Lebanon family. So thank you so much for being a part of my team and for helping me continue to strive to be a better teacher. So thank you.
I know I speak for the board that we are extremely proud to have you on our staff. I'm sure that the whole rigmarole of getting there was quite a feat in and of itself, but it speaks highly of your professionalism. So thank you for your dedication to our students and the community.
Glenn, I think we should also recognize the young man that presented her at the thing. I know I've gone to several of these things, and it's the icing on the cake to hear the students get up there and brag on their teachers and say how great there is. I'm sure that was the final casting vote that got Ms. Foxwell into the finals. So I think he's sitting out there in the thing. When I stand up and
Thank you for your work. Okay, well, I was so excited about getting to Rebecca Foxwell that I inadvertently passed two of the items at the top. The first one was roll call.
All present.
And I have an announcement of executive sessions. The board met in executive session immediately following the November 10th, 2015 meeting to discuss a contractual item. And the board will meet in executive session immediately following this meeting to discuss a contractual, to discuss contractual items. And administrative reports.
Good evening. While Mr. Poole and the students come forward, I'd like everybody to take their agendas for tonight, turn over to the back, and you'll notice on the very back page, there are a list of events that are upcoming, music programs that are occurring in the month of December. And to encourage attendance and to highlight some of the abilities that we have here, select members of the middle school chorus came out tonight to give us a little bit of entertainment in the holiday spirit.
Cool. We're going to sing a variety of carols, and please feel free to join in if you want. We're just getting excited about the season. So, Deck the Halls is first.
Deck the halls with bells of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, la 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 la. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol, la 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 la. See the blazing hill before us, fa la 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 la. Strike the harp and join the chorus, fa la 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 la. Follow me in merry measure, fa la 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 la. Carol and tell of Yuletide treasure, fa la 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 la. Fast away the old year passes, fa la 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 la. Hail the new year, lads and lasses, fa la 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 la. Sing we joyous all together, la 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 la. Heedless of the wind and weather, la 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 la. The first Noel, the angels did say, was to certain poor shepherds in fields as they lay, in fields where they lay keeping their sheep on a cold winter's night that was so deep. Noel, 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 Noel. Born is the King of Israel. They looked on high and saw a star shining in the east beyond them far, and to the earth it gave great light, and so it continued both day and night. Noel, 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 Noel. Born is the King of Israel. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing
with "We wish you a Merry Christmas," and well, we'd like some figgy pudding, so don't forget that verse, everybody.
We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Oh, bring us some piggy pudding, oh, bring us some piggy pudding, oh, bring us some piggy pudding, now bring some right here. Good tidings we bring for you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We won't go until we get some, we won't go until we get some, we won't go until we get some, so bring some right here. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
I'll note that on the back page, and as you look at the dates, one of the dates that's not specifically identified for middle school, but the middle school will be performing at, is the Senior Citizen Luncheon on December 21st. That date is a change from when we would normally have the Senior Citizen Luncheon. Typically it's on a Wednesday. This year it's on a Monday. So make sure your calendars are correct. That's 1 o'clock in the high school cafeteria. Thank you very much. And now, Mr. Rizzo.
Good evening. First off, that's very hard to follow. The Pennsylvania Teacher of the Year, and then the chorus. Now I have to speak, so that's very impressive. I have two parts of the presentation pertaining to Jonestown. First, I'd like to recognize one of our teachers as well. It's not the Pennsylvania Teacher of the Year award, but anytime you have an award that's nominated by a student and ultimately comes from a student, I think that's a very special thing. In the month of November, we had About Families, which is a Berks and Lebanon-based newspaper publication, surprise us and presented Mrs. Jen Birch, which is one of our kindergarten teachers at Jonestown, with an award for Teacher of the Month of November. That award, again, was based off of a letter that was written by one of our students, Colin Padavani. I think Colin is going to come up here and actually read that letter for us.
Mrs. Birch is the greatest because she helps us read and spell. Mrs. Birch is the greatest teacher in Jonestown because she's happy all the time and doesn't make me scared.
Colin, awesome job. Very good job. Anytime a kindergarten kid can come up here and speak like that, it's pretty impressive stuff. About Families came in, did a presentation, again, awarding Mrs. Birch and Colin. They both received some prizes and a plaque, and very neat ceremony, and it was surprising to all of us. So Mrs. Birch, congratulations. Colin, congratulations. The second part of the presentation, I'd like to introduce one of our teachers. Now, we have a lot of great things going on at Jonestown. It's hard to narrow one special thing down because there's a lot of extra stuff going on. There's always teachers wanting to start clubs and run activities, and it's constant, which is a great thing and makes Jonestown, I think, like all of our schools, very special. One of our teachers who is constantly going above and beyond and trying to run, additional programs, special activities, is our art teacher, Mr. Lindbergh. Before I bring Mr. Lindbergh up, he's going to do a presentation on a recently formed art club that he created. He has a lot of students involved in that art club. And Mr. Lindbergh, and I know many of us are very familiar with Mr. Lindbergh, very few times I can walk down the hallway without running into him and he does not have something that he wants to start at Jonestown. It is every day. And that's a good thing, and I'm excited to have him. We're all lucky to have him. But it literally, every day, he's thinking of new things that he wants to do and new things that he wants to get rolling on. So we're very lucky to have him. I'll turn it over to Mr. Lindbergh to talk about the art club.
I actually thought maybe I would just be one of the teachers that's scary and roams the halls. Well, the first thing that I have to show you is a little slideshow here. I thought I would update the board on something that I haven't been here for a year. Sorry I missed out last year, but a couple years ago I talked a little bit about a grant that Mr. Hoffer and Mr. Stewart and I were able to get from the Northern Lebanon Education Foundation to have a cross-curricular sundial where we worked with the high school tech crew, the 6th grade kids in science did all the mathematical computations for it, and in art, we designed it. So last spring, John Rank, one of our custodians, did an excellent job, came in on the weekend, hung everything up, and it's a working sundial, except during daylight savings time. So someone forgot to tell the sun to just, well, I guess they I have had some community members say, so what are those numbers for? And I had to explain it's a sundial. So since the technology is a little old, I think my next external sculpture is going to be a rotary telephone dial that's 3 stories tall. So that's what I'm thinking of next. But the art, this is kind of a dim one. The art club is something that I was able to have some extra time in my schedule this year for, and I envision it being a place where kids can come in if they need to finish an artwork that's of special importance. I like to select artworks for the art show for every kid, maybe even 2 for kids throughout the year. And sometimes if someone's really close to getting done, I'd say it's not quite a art showpiece, but if I could get them in for an extra 10 minutes one-on-one, we could get that thing knocked out, and it'd be a great one for the art show. And so that's one thing that the art club is enabling me to do, is just polish off those little things one-on-one. I'm also able, with teachers working with me, I've hosted a couple classes in for an extra time, for a little bit of extra instruction, to either prepare them for a big thing, or if I found, wow, that lesson got a little bit too cramped, I've invited them in to just flesh something out a little bit more. And that's been very effective too. And now the big bulk of that's actually what this is, right? Actually, no, this is not that. This is something different altogether. We have release time for our 3rd graders. And there's some release time kids who don't go out with the rest of the crew. They stay back with their classroom teachers. So I said to the 3rd grade teachers, can I just have those kids come on Wednesdays and do something interesting together? And so I thought, let's have a 3rd grade mural team. And they're going to be creating a mural for the art and music area. We're going to call it Arts Central. And so they designed every letter. I gave a letter to each kid. And they also designed musical instruments and artistic ideas too. Then I pulled them all together and composed them. And I'll show you what the wall looks like now. It's marked out, it's primed, ready to go. The bottom, I've written that in since this picture was taken, but we're going to be painting tomorrow. So if you have a 3rd grader that comes home looking a little, colorful, sorry in advance. Or send them with good or not so good clothes tomorrow. Here's one that some 5th graders are working on. With 5th grade, they're our oldest, our most mature artistic kids. So I thought, wouldn't it be great to give them the chance to come in and get some sort of independent study work where they could invest their artistic skills in something that's beyond the pale of normal art instruction. So I have a variety of things here to show you that are going to be going up. We're working in cooperation with other teachers as well. Like the librarian, Mrs. Courtwright, has said to me, I would love a mural. There she is, she's waiting back there. I would love a mural in my library lofts to beautify that space. So one of our students, Nicole Lehman, is designing this mural that will be probably about 8 feet tall, maybe 15, 20 feet wide on the back of the wall there. I'm counting on a dozen or more 5th grade students to help carry it out. It's got some images from Jonestown, took some pictures with the iPads that the district provides for us, and She designed different buildings to go as like a little town. Then we got the Swati roaming through some willows there. I have a couple, actually 5 fifth grade students that are working on like a mock stained glass design. Some donations came in years ago that I was thinking, what am I going to do with these? I had a parent give me 2 foot by 16 or 18 inch styrofoam slabs. And I thought, well, okay, thanks a lot. And so I threw them in my closet. And now years later, I finally got an idea. They're carving out holes and putting some colored cellophane in there. And these are currently in the windows of the art room. And each morning and afternoon, I get to show the kids how the colors, just like in an old cathedral, are tinting the room that we have to make art in. Just adds a little bit extra fun, brings some art into things. I also noticed that there's some little cubby areas at Jonestown that have water fountains in them. And I thought, man, you're getting a drink there, you got this antiseptic tan sort of thing to get a drink there. So why don't I ask kids, would you want to design a mural for these water fountains? It'd be like an oasis then. So one guy, Zed Rodriguez, is working on this one currently. And here he is, right there. I said, Zed, I'm going to take a picture of you. So of course, as I'm clicking it, he goes like this and ducks out of the way, you know, but I got him when he was least expecting it. There's a bench. This is the bench that sits outside of the nurse's office. And Mrs. Klein and Ms. Carpenter, our guidance counselor, have wanted it to look better for a long time. They didn't think it was kind of plain. So I have some girls here, Jalen and Savannah. They are designing it, or have designed it, to have all kinds of health-related and counselor-related ideas with some great Northern Lebanon colors. So they're working hard on that. Here's another student named Riley who has a poster idea for as kids are coming in and leaving the school by the bus lobby. She wants them to say, "Stay strong and learn on." And yeah, she was splatting that paint and driving me crazy. Wow. I basically thought, what am I? Just, you know, I'm your custodian here while you're just splattering everywhere. And I'm saying, hey, come on, you know what? I'm cleaning it up while she's splatting it on me. And then here we have one of the Bixler guys here. He's coming in to finish his clay artwork. Of course, it's about a baseball player that he loves. That's his main thing. So I guess I have to thank Mr. Rizzo for even letting me have this idea come forward. And as a teacher who likes to do big things, I'm really thankful for administration throughout the course of my time being here that lets me just go with it and isn't too skittish about me throwing paint on walls. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much for those reports. Next on our agenda will be special presentations. The high school student of the month for December, high school students of the month for December are Kaylee Dunware and Benjamin Yakovich. This award is sponsored jointly by the Fredericksburg and Jonestown Lions Clubs, and each recipient will be recognized at a future meeting of the Lions Club. The middle school student of the month for December is Sydney Herb. This award is sponsored by the Northern Lebanon County Rotary Club, and each recipient will be recognized at a future meeting of the Rotary Club. Are either or any of our student of the months here today? Okay. Our student board representative, Haley Reinbold.
So some of the past events that we had going on was the FFA Thanksgiving Food Drive, which helped the Jonestown Outreach Pantry have a dinner for the homeless on Thanksgiving, and they'll keep raising it for Christmas as well. The junior-senior class play and magical feast were a success for Mrs. Mosser and all the students that had been involved. Some of the present events is Zoe Zerman, who is an 11th grader, is on the nomination for Penn Live's Fab 5 basketball players. The FFA department is finishing up with their fundraisers. Today was the fruit one. We got all our fruit in today and the poinsettias. That's raised a lot of money for the chapter, including our subs, candles, pies. And auditions are being started for the 2016 musical, which is Seussical this year. And future events is Class 4s, which is coming up, includes hall decorating, a pep rally, and spirit days. That's probably the biggest thing we do in December. Regional competitions for FBLA are on Monday, and the students who made it into that are Rebecca Boisvert, Nate Lyon, Kylie Moyers, and Dante DeAngelis. And the FFA department will be holding a Christmas party before Christmas break for all of the new members.
Thank you, Helen.
Thank you, Haley. And any old business for the order? We now come to our public input, and we have a motion. We have a request here to speak both on an agenda item and a non-agenda item. And so I'm not going to make a motion myself, but there's a motion to allow both the 4 minutes for each one of those, or how the board would like to address that. Does anybody have a motion?
I think that's a policy, our policy allows you to do that.
It does, automatically? Okay. I knew there would be a new policy, but I just wasn't sure if it was. So our first one, and she said she just has so it'll be under 4 minutes, and it will be only one paragraph on the non-agenda item. So to keep things smooth, we'll just go ahead with Rachel Savillon.
$13 million resolution. I wish the public, myself, had been more informed about the need for this. I have attended every board meeting since the state deadline passed, and I haven't heard any discussion about the proposed February end date. If the district will exhaust funds in February, I'm interested to know when this timeline was determined. If the administration was aware that we would deplete our reserve prior to last week's meeting, why was it not discussed sooner? Many districts across Pennsylvania are faced with the same issues, but I have read numerous articles about these districts working with the community to come up with the best way to get through this. I encourage this board to do the same. We have time to further review the offer before making this decision. Taking a loan of any type should not be taken lightly and should take more than 7 days to review. Making it available for public viewing could make a huge difference. I may not have the knowledge to grasp all of the contents of the proposal, but I know many in our community who would. The line of credit will come with added expenses that the public should be fully aware of. It would have been nice to have the attachments available on the website for public review. I understand that the board will make decisions and vote on issues that the public will be completely unaware of and have no input, but this is not one of those. Non-agenda. I was disappointed that the agenda for tonight's meeting had not been posted until today. It seems whether we like it or not, the public input has changed to agenda topics only before a vote. If the agenda is not made public prior to more than a few hours to a meeting, how is that supposed to work? Yes, the committee meeting agenda was posted, but I have been at committee meetings when items were added to the agenda. I would like to see the board require that agendas be posted at least 3 days prior to a meeting. This would help the community be able to know what they can or can't speak on. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person will be Daniel Finken.
Good evening, Nathaniel Finken, 207 East Hazel Street. I have items tonight for both the agenda and non-agenda, so I would prefer to come after this item is discussed. I do have the credentials to talk about the tax revenue anticipation of the TRAN. I spent 8 years in corporate banking, 3 of them as a senior vice president of Citizens Bank, where I oversaw a number of these transactions, and 2 of them as vice president of capital markets at Harleysville National Bank, where I did several more of these. I am credentialed to speak on this topic. The issue here is not if we need a TRAN, because if the state budget crisis continues, we will run out of money. The issue here is really more about the process. So Mrs. Keller brought up the fact that the transparency here is lacking, and she's right. I, for one, would like to look at the promissory note for the loan agreement and the security agreement myself, as I understand the language. I understand what's in there. We should all have a chance to view that before we commit to that level of indebtedness. And really that has more to do with rebuilding the trust with the taxpayers and the citizens of this district than anything else. That's something that's going to take a long time. A positive first step would be working with us to resolve our shortfalls instead of doing things in an opaque nature like this. Who submitted bids? I mean, this trans space is well populated by PNC Bank, BB&T Bank, Wells Fargo, Santander, Fulton for sure, our current bank, and several others. These are really standard instruments, and they're happening all over the place. So this is not unique to us. We do not need to reinvent the wheel. The pricing is typically 30-day LIBOR plus either 1.25 to 1.6%. So what I've heard about pricing is fair. But the other reason why we should really consider tabling this tonight is that the timing of this typically is 14 days. These are done just in time. And they're done just in time because borrowing is the thing that we do last, primarily because of the fees that are involved. Typically, either there's an upfront origination fee or some sort of commitment fee or non-usage fee, which amounts to 0.25% or 25 basis points. In this case, that'd be $32,500. There's a reason these are done just in time, because we shouldn't commit to borrowing if we don't need it. For all we know, the state could resolve this shortfall next week, next month. It could resolve it on New Year's Eve. And then we would have spent this fee money for no reason whatsoever. That's $32,500 is a decent amount of money last time I checked. So these are done last. We should absolutely be looking at expenses. So there is consideration for curtailing cursors and charter school payments. I will tell you that while that is common in shortfalls like this, it is highly irregular and very uncommon to do that while operating under a tram. Those two things do not happen in the same place anywhere else. When you operate under a tram, you pay your bills, including cyber, including pension payments. That's why you borrow money as a last resort. But when you do not curtail these payments, typically. We would be very, very unusual and quite an outlier if we did that, which is why I recommend we don't. This is, however, a great time to review our expenses. We should be reviewing our relations with our vendors, absolutely. We should make sure that we're getting the best deal on things that we buy. This would also be an opportune time to implement an outside business activity arrangement to ensure that there aren't conflicts of interest among those who work for the district with our vendors. That's something that I don't believe we have that we should absolutely consider. So in closing, it's not if we need a tram, let's do a tram, but let's do it the right way, please. Let's do it so that there's adequate time for public input and public scrutiny. Let's do it at the last possible minute so that we don't incur fees that we don't absolutely need. Let's do this in the light of day so that everybody can feel comfortable that we had to do it and we did it as a last resort. Thank you.
Concludes the public comment for agenda items this evening. Now we'll move to the agenda items. Director Sell.
I'd like to move a consensus agenda. Second. Roll call.
Please be patient. This is my first time with Robert's Rule of Order. Roll call.
Bixler?
Yes.
Howe?
Yes.
Erdman?
Yes.
Lum?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
England?
Yes.
Heckman?
Yes.
Sell?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
All in favor?
And under Management Committee, I'd like to move item A. Second.
Any discussion? None. Roll call.
Howe?
Yes.
Erdman?
Yes.
Lum?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
England?
Yes.
Heckman?
Yes.
Sell?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Bixler?
Yes.
All in favor?
I'd like to move item B. Second. And I want to thank you, Stacy, for stepping up to be our representative.
I'm going to abstain from voting on that.
Okay. And is there any discussion? None. Roll call.
Erdman?
Brennan,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Murray,
Abstain.
England,
Yes.
Heckman,
Yes.
Snell,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Bixler,
Yes.
Yes.
Howe. Well, 8 in favor, 1 abstention.
I'd like to move item C.
Second. Discussion? Roll call?
Wait, are you talking about the $13 million? I have a lot of discussion about that, so if you can just bear with me a second for my notes. I had, Mr. Heckman had presented on this last week, and I've since had some more questions, additional questions. And so I did send out an email with my questions. I don't think that we heard back from the solicitor. Dr. Bell, do you know if, or Glenn, do you know if we?
No, the person that actually put the TRAN together was out of the office today, but when they get back tomorrow.
Okay.
So he said that they would take care of us tomorrow, but obviously we're discussing it this evening.
Okay. So if I have the questions from my email, then I could ask them now, and possibly some individuals here might have answers to them. Is that okay? So from the committee meeting, I've noted $2,500 in closing costs, and I'm asking if that's the same as the origination fee, or if there's any other additional upfront costs. Does anyone have that information?
The terminology, I'm not going to get too involved with, $2,500 is the total closing cost. There's no 25 basis points. It is $2,500 for the entire $13 million.
Okay. And then, do you know if the loan will be syndicated? That it would be, other banks would be participating in that $13 million TRAN, or?
The documents are a Fulton Bank loan, and in my discussions with them, there's no indication whatsoever that any other bank should be involved in this. All of this money should be coming through Fulton Bank.
It's too small to syndicate it. You'd have to be a really small bank to syndicate it.
And then I also wondered if the board will be approving all draws from this facility. Does anybody?
The loan, TRAN for $13 million in whole. That money will be drawn as it is needed. I don't think you want to have to meet every time we need a draft or draw from this loan. The idea is to not draw a large amount more than we need at a time. Try to draw as little as you need, and so we don't want to have to draw 2 or 3 or a month's worth of needed money just to carry us over until you can meet again. So I think it's best that the board not be involved in it.
And then, do you have the projected date as to when we'll be out of money? I know you projected February, but is there a more specific date than February?
No, I'm going to stick with that date. We cannot know for sure how much money is going to come in at what time. I mean, we get delinquent loan payment, delinquent real estate payments, we get fee payments, or income tax payments. We have no idea what that is. It just comes in, and we don't know how much goes until it arrives. And so we really don't have a basis as to how much money we're going to receive on a continual basis and at what time we're going to receive it. And so we really can't come up with a projected time of an exact date when you're going to run out of funds. I will stick with my February date, mid to late December, mid to late February. If we're fortunate enough to move early March, that would be great. But I'm still going to stick with February.
Okay. I have to keep getting up. I'm
That's
sorry.
all right.
Can you please tell me why the closing date is January 7th? It does seem that these things can move pretty quickly, so I wasn't sure if we could postpone that date. I think in the document it said it could be different than January 7th.
I don't have the exact wording here in front of me, but the documents does say set January 7th or such other date.
As agreed upon by Northern Lebanon and Fulton Bank. Okay.
That's correct. It's not saying that it has to be exactly on January 7th. The timeline for the receiving of the funds is up to 4 weeks after it is approved by the board. You will need about 2 weeks for this to go to the DCED, Department of Community and Economic Development, for them to acknowledge that they have received, that there is going to be a loan, then they have to report back to us that they've received it. That takes up to 2 weeks. And then the Fulton Bank attorneys have to review the paperwork that was completed by our solicitor's firm, Kate Keller, Allen, and actually, the individual who prepared the documents was Rhonda Ward, who is the board of their name. And it will take them up to 2 weeks to review those documents. It takes about a month after those documents are signed.
Okay. And then were there proposals from other banks or bids from other banks?
I received a proposal from PISLAF, PSDLAF, which is Pennsylvania School District Liquid Asset Fund. Their proposal was basically the same as what we received from Fulton Bank. There were a couple of items that were not as good, but then we received obviously the one from Fulton Bank. I did make a call to one of our local banks in Colorado.
It's also
Yes, it's the same, the terms that we have with Fulton Bank, it's the same exact terms that the IU-13 has with their $20 million loan. Which
I think
their
Sue's-
LIBOR rate plus the 1.5%.
I think Sue said that the IU shopped it pretty good. I think she said that in one of our meetings.
And so the document looks exactly the same except for the $20 million? Or?
I think Sue said the terms, the major bullet points of the.
The term sheet is exactly the same, or pretty close to the same.
Okay. And then are there maintenance fees or usage or non-usage fees? Okay. And then what other documents besides the document that was provided by Mary last week? Do you know what other documents? I can't recall. I think it was called
Anticipatory note, revenue anticipatory note.
oh, that's what it was, the note. So was there more other documents that the board, like I just saw one document, which I have printed out here, but was there more to it than that?
The document that was presented to the board is the complete document. It's more than one page document.
No, yeah, yes, yeah.
There are several pages to it.
And then, do you have the November 16th letter of commitment that was sent out? I think I saw as an part of that.
Is that the fact sheet that?
I don't have it. I just saw that it was referred to somewhere. The November 16th letter of commitment.
I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to.
Okay, I'll look further into that.
Approval terms. I know there is some documents that the solicitor's term will be provided in addition to that.
Okay.
Nothing that needs to be approved by the board, but items that they have to do as far as legal terms are concerned.
Okay, and then another question I have, which isn't necessarily for Mr. Heckman, but I wasn't sure why this document wasn't put out there for public review, and I just wondered if I could get clarification of that. Is that typically a document that we would hold until we vote on it?
No, previous boards have held all the documents in the past. You can, though, if you want to, as a board, produce any document at any particular point in time. However, I would strongly recommend you contact your solicitor in relationship to that, because any document that you put out that would include HIPAA laws you don't want to violate.
And then are there any other terms of default besides if we just would not pay the loan? Is there any other reason that would make us go into default?
No.
Okay. And then I think the final thing is there was a section, it was section 2, page 2 on the document that said the Board of School Directors has discussed the merit of the alternatives methods of selling. Do you know what that, and I can find the whole thing here.
I'm familiar with that section. I guess basically we can do that right now. There would be, I suppose, alternate means. We could take this to public financial management, who has done our bond funding in previous years. And then put it out for an auction, that type of thing. I would imagine fees involved with that would be greater than $2,500 closing fee that we're having with the public, with Fulton Bank. What we have here is a trend, tax and revenue anticipation note, at very good terms, 1.5% plus the 30-day LIBOR rate. We have a loan that is not collateralized to any buildings. One of the groups that I talked with wanted the buildings collateralized as collateral. Made the statement that we, of course, we would not come in and take the buildings, but it was there as collateral. We do not have that with Fulton Bank. It's a very competitive loan. It's a loan that, as we've said, has been, that the IU is using itself. And it is my recommendation that if there's going to be a loan approval, that we do this one right here.
And then the only other thing that I'm sorry I have is, and I had already asked about this, but I was wondering if there were or could be recommendations by administration for trimming back on costs before we would take out this tram. So.
The administration recommends the borrowing of money. Part of the reason that is because your primary responsibility, or I should say your primary sums on a monthly basis, we're a $35 million business, you need approximately $3 million a month to operate. The two largest sums that you're going to have, number one is payroll. In a 2-month period, you're going to have at least $1 million, two times in 1 month, be $1 million. Obviously, if it's 3, you can add that another $500,000. In addition to that, the largest individual sum that you would have would be your bond fund payment, usually around $1 million. And I believe, Dan, that next one's due around February.
That was not $1 million, but it can be up to $1 million.
So what you're going to need to do in relationship to that, if you want to save a large sum of money, in other words, gain yourself another month, and I'm not really sure if that's what you're talking about, Director Ekman, but the focus would be, those are really the two primary areas that you have. One would be payroll. The next one that you have would be a